So I just let the visual like that, like this, and just listen to me. We are precisely in the right chapter for this view, that is underwater. And sorry for that distant man that he will be in the video anyway. Underwater. When night fell, all the interior of the great dome, streets and houses became lighted with brilliant incandescent lamps, which rendered it bright as day. I guess I will read maybe for half an hour, and then the other half an hour I will let just the sea waves yesterday. Dorothy thought the island must look beautiful by night from the outer shore of the lake. There was revelry and feasting in the Queen's Palace, and the music of the royal band could be plainly heard in Lady Aurex's house, where Ozma and Dorothy remained with their hostess and keeper. They were prisoners, but treated with much consideration. Lady Aurex gave them a nice supper, and when they wished to retire, showed them to a pretty room with comfortable beds, and wished them a good night and pleasant dreams. What do you think of all this, Ozma? Dorothy anxiously inquired when they were alone. I am glad we came, was the reply, for although there may be mischief done tomorrow, it was necessary I should know about these people, whose leaders are wild and lawless, and oppress their subjects with injustice and cruelties. My task, therefore, is to liberate the Skeezers and the Flatheads and secure for them freedom and happiness. I have no doubt I can accomplish this in time. Just now, though, we're in a bad fix, asserted Dorothy. If Queen Kuyo conquers tomorrow, she won't be nice to us, and if the Sudic conquers, it'll be worse. Do not worry, dear, said Ozma. I do not think we are in danger, whatever happens, and the result of our adventure is sure to be good. Dorothy was not worrying, especially. She had confidence in her friend, the fiery Princess of Oz, and she enjoyed the excitement of the events in which she was taking part. So she crept into bed and fell asleep as easily as if she had been in her own cozy room in Ozma Palace. I will let you see the sea waves there. Let you a little bit with the sea waves there. A sort of grinding sound awakened her. The whole island seemed to tremble and sway, as it might do in an earthquake. Dorothy sat up in bed, rubbing her eyes to get the sleep out of them, and then found it was daybreak. Ozma was hurriedly dressing herself. What is it? Asked Dorothy, jumping out of bed. I'm not sure, answered Ozma, but it feels as if the island is sinking. As soon as possible they finished dressing, while the creaking and swaying continued. Then they rushed into the living room of the house and found Lady Aurex, fully dressed, awaiting them. Do not be alarmed, said their hostess. Kuyo has decided to submerge the island, that is all. But it proves the Flatheads are coming to attack us. What do you mean by submerging the island? Asked Dorothy. Come here and see, was the reply. Lady Aurex led them to a window which faced the side of the great dome, which covered all the village, and they could see that the island was indeed sinking, for the water of the lake was already halfway up the side of the dome. Through the glass could be seen swimming fishes and tall stalks of swaying seaweeds, for the water was clear as crystal, and through it they could distinguish even the farther shore of the lake. The Flatheads are not here yet, said Lady Aurex. They will come soon, but not until all of this dome is under the surface of the water. Won't the dome leak? Dorothy inquired anxiously. No, indeed. Was the island ever sub-sunk before? Oh yes, on several occasions. But Cuyo doesn't care to do that often, for it requires a lot of hard work to operate the machinery. The dome was built so that the island could disappear. I think, she continued, that our queen fears the flatheads will attack the island and try to break the glass of the dome. Well, if we're underwater, they can fight us, and we can fight them, asserted Dorothy. They could kill the fishes, however, said Ozma gravely. We have ways to fight also, even though our island is underwater, claimed Lady Aurex. I cannot tell you all our secrets, but this island is full of surprises. Also, our queen's magic is astonishing. Did she steal it all from the three adepts in sorcery that are now fishes? She stole the knowledge and the magic tools, but she had used them as the three adepts never would have done. By this time, the top of the dome was quite underwater, and suddenly the island stopped sinking and became stationary. See, cried Lady Aurex, pointing to the shore. The flatheads have come. On the bank, which was now far above their heads, a crowd of dark figures could be seen. Now let us see what Kuyo will do to oppose them, continued Lady Aurex in a voice that betrayed her excitement. The flatheads, pushing their way through the line of palm trees, had reached the shore of the lake just as the top of the island dome disappeared beneath the surface. The water now flowed from shore to shore, but through the clear water, as this, the dome was still visible, and the houses of the skiers could be dimly seen through the panes of glass. Good, exclaimed the Sudik, who had armed all his followers and had brought with him 2 copper vessels, which he carefully set down upon the ground beside him. If Koyo wants to hide instead of fighting, our job will be easy. For in one of these copper vessels, I have enough poison to kill every fish in the lake. Kill them then, while we have time, and then we can go home again, advised one of the chief officers. Not yet, objected the Sudik. The queen of the skiers has defied me, and I want to get her into my power, as well as to destroy her magic. She transformed my poor wife into a golden pig, and I must have revenge for that, whatever else we do. Look out! Suddenly exclaimed the officers, pointing into the lake. Something's going to happen. From the submerged dome, a door opened, and something black shot swiftly out into the water. The door instantly closed behind it, and the dark object cleaved its way through the water without rising to the surface, directly toward the place where the flatheads were standing. What is that? Dorothy asked the Lady Aurex. That is one of the Queen's submarines, was the reply. It is all enclosed and can move underwater. Kuyo has several of these boats, which are kept in little rooms in the basement under our village. When the island is submerged, the Queen uses these boats to reach the shore, and I believe she now intends to fight the flatheads with them. The Sudik and his people knew nothing of Kuyo's submarines, so they watched with surprise as the underwater boat approached them. When he was quite near the shore, he rose to the surface, and the top parted and fell back, disclosing a boat full of armed skiers. At the head was the Queen, standing up in the bow, and holding in one hand a coil of magic rope that gleamed like silver. The boat halted, and Kuyo drew back her arm to throw the silver rope toward the Sudik, who was now but a few feet from him. But the wily flathead leader quickly realized his danger, and before the Queen could throw the rope, he caught up one of the copper vessels and dashed its contents full in her face. Next chapter is the conquest of the skiers. Kuyo dropped the rope, tottered and fell headlong into the water, sinking beneath the surface, while the skiers in the submarine assisted and only stared at the ripples in the water where she had disappeared. A moment later, there rose to the surface a beautiful white swan. The swan was of large size, very gracefully formed, and scattered all over its white feathers were tiny diamonds, so thickly placed that as the rays of the morning sun fell upon them, the entire body of the swan glistened like one brilliant diamond. The head of the diamond swan had a bill of polished gold, and its eyes were two sparkling amethysts. "Hooray!" cried the Sudik, dancing up and down with wicked glee. "My poor wife Rora is avenged at last. You made her a golden pig, Kuyo, and now I have made you a diamond swan." Well, a diamond swan is cute. "Float on your lake forever, if you like, for your web feet can do no more magic, and you are as powerless as the pig you made of my wife." "Feline scoundrel!" croaked the diamond swan. "You will be punished for this. Oh, what a fool I was to let you enchant me." "A fool you were, and a fool you are," laughed the Sudik, dancing madly in his delight. And then he carelessly tipped over the other copper vessel with his heel, and his contents spilled on the sands and were lost to the last drop. As I reading, it seems to me that I'm talking slowly. Then when I listen again, the audio, I realize that I'm talking faster than I think. So I will try to go slow. The Sudik stopped short and looked at the overturned vessel with a rueful countenance. "That's too bad, he exclaimed sorrowfully. "I've lost all the poison I had to kill the fishes with, and I can't make any more because only my wife knew the secret of it, and she is now a foolish pig and has forgotten all her magic." "Very well," said the diamond swan scornfully, as she floated upon the water and swam gracefully here and there. "I'm glad to see you are foiled. Your punishment is just beginning, for although you have enchanted me and taken away my powers of sorcery, you have still the 3 magic fishes to deal with, and they'll destroy you in time, mark my words." The Sudik stared at the swan a moment. Then he yelled to his men, "Shoot her! Shoot the saucy bird!" They let fly some arrows at the diamond swan, but she dove under the water, and the missiles fell harmless. When Kukio rose to the surface, she was far from the shore, and she swiftly swam across the lake to where no arrows or spears could reach her. The Sudik rapped his chin and thought what to do next. Nearby floated the submarine in which the Queen had come, but the skiers who were in it were puzzled what to do with themselves. Perhaps they were not sorry their cruel mistress had been transformed into a diamond swan, but the transformation had left them quite helpless. The underwater boat was not operated by machinery, but by certain mystic words uttered by Kuyo. They didn't know how to submerge it, or how to make the watertight shield cover them again, or how to make the boat go back to the castle, or make it enter the little basement room where it was usually kept. As a matter of fact, they were now shut out of their village under the great dome, and could not get back again. So one of the men called to the supreme dictator of the Flatheads, saying, "Please, make us prisoners and take us to your mountain, and feed and keep us, for we have nowhere to go." Then the Sudik laughed and answered, "No, so, I can't be bothered by caring for a lot of stupid skiers. Stay where you are, or go wherever you please, as long as you keep away from our mountain." He turned to his man and added, "We have conquered Queen Kuyo and made her a helpless swan. The skiers are underwater and may stay there. So having won the war, let us go home again and make merry and feast. having after many years proved the Flatheads to be greater and more powerful than the Skeezers. So the Flatheads marched away and passed through the row of palms and went back to their mountain, where the Sudik and a few of his officers feasted, and all the others were forced to wait on them. "I'm sorry we couldn't have a roast pig," said the Sudik, "but as the only pig we have is made of gold, we can't either. Also, the golden pig happens to be my wife, and even were she not gold, I am sure she would be too tough to eat." Next chapter is called The Diamond Swan. When the Flatheads... Hey, I put you good. Hope you hear me. When the Flatheads had gone away, the Diamond Swan swam back to the boat, and one of the youngest Skeezers, named Ervik, said to her eagerly, "How can we get back to the island, your majesty?" "I am not beautiful?" asked Kuyo, arching her neck gracefully and spreading her diamond-sprinkled wings. Like this, I fear to throw the phone on. "I can see my reflection in the water, and I'm sure there is no bird, nor beast, nor human as magnificent as I am." "How shall we get back to the island, your majesty?" pleaded Ervik. "When my fame spreads through the land, people will travel from all parts of this lake to look upon my loveliness," said Kuyo, shaking her feathers to make the diamonds glitter more brilliantly. "But your majesty, we must go home, and we do not know how to get there," Ervik persisted. "My eyes," remarked the Diamond Swan, "are wonderfully blue and bright, and will charm all beholders." "Tell us how to make the boat go, how to get back into the island," begged Ervik, and the others cried just as earnestly, "Tell us, Kuyo, tell us." "I don't know," replied the queen in a careless tone. "You are a magic worker, a sorceress, a witch." "I was, of course, when I was a girl," she said, bending her head. "I need to sneeze." Sorry. Oh my. Oh, I see a little crab. Wait, is there? In that way you can't see. So, "Of course I was. When I was a girl," she said, bending her head over the clear water to catch her reflection in it. "But now I've forgotten all such foolish things as magic. Swans are lovelier than girls, especially when they're sprinkled with diamonds. Don't you think so?" And she gracefully swam away, without seeming to care whether they answered or not. This is the attitude. Ervik and his companions were in despair. They saw plainly the Kuyo could not or would not help them. The former queen had no further thought for her island, her people, or her wonderful magic. She was only intent on admiring her beauty. "Truly," said Ervik in a gloomy voice, "the Flatheads have conquered us." Sorry. Some of these events have been witnessed by Ozma and Dorothy and Lady Aurex, who had left the house and gone close to the glass of the dome in order to see what was going on. Many of the Skeezers had also crowded against the dome, wondering what would happen next. Although their vision was to an extent blurred by the water and the necessity Wait, I let pass the airplane. Was literally cold. Although their vision was to an extent blurred by the water and the necessity of looking upward at an angle, they yet observed the main points of the drama enacted above. They say Queen Kuyo's submarine came to the surface and opened. They saw the queen standing erect to throw her magic rope. They saw her sudden transformation into a diamond swan, and a cry of amazement went up from the skizzers inside the dome. Good, exclaimed Dorothy. I hate that old Sudik, but I'm glad Kuyo is punished. This is a dreadful misfortune, cried Lady Aurex, pressing her hands upon her heart. Yes, agreed Ozma, nodding her head thoughtfully. Kuyo's misfortune will prove a terrible blow to her people. What do you mean by that? Asked Dorothy in surprise. Seems to me the skizzers are in luck to lose their cruel queen. If that were all, you would be right, responded Lady Aurex. And if the island were above water, it would not be so serious. But here we all are, at the bottom of the lake, and fast prisoners in this dome. Can't you raise the island? Inquired Dorothy. No, only Kuyo knew how to do that, was the answer. We can try, insisted Dorothy. If it can be made to go down, it can be made to come up. The machinery is still here, I suppose. Yes, but the machinery works by magic, and Kuyo, will never share her secret power with any one of us. Dorothy's face grew grave, but she was thinking. Ozma knows a lot of magic, she said. But not that kind of magic, Ozma replied. Can't you learn how? By looking at the machinery? Oh, a seagull passed over me. Oh, seagulls. A lot. I'm afraid not, my dear. It isn't fairy magic at all. It is witchcraft. Well, said Dorothy, turning to Lady Aurex, you say there are other sinking boats. We can get in one of those and shoot out to the top of the water like Kuyo did, and so escape. And then we can help to rescue all the skizzers down here. No one knows how to work the underwater boats but the Queen, declared Lady Aurex. Isn't there any door or window in this dome that we could open? No, and if there were, the water will rush in to flood the dome, and we could not get out. The skizzers, said Ozma, could not drown. They only get wet and soggy, and in that condition, they will be very uncomfortable and unhappy. But you are a mortal girl, Dorothy, and if your magic belt protected you from that, you would have to lie forever at the bottom of the lake. No, I rather die quickly, asserted the little girl, but there are doors in the basement that open to let out the bridges and the boats, and that will not flood the dome, you know. Those doors open by a magic word, and only Kuyo knows the word that must be uttered, said Lady Aurex. Dear me, exclaimed Dorothy, that dreadful queen's witchcraft upsets all my plans to escape. I guess I'll give it up, Ozma, and let you save us. Ozma smiled, but her smile was not so cheerful as usual. The Princess of Oz? Those people are gone now, there is just us. The Princess of Oz found herself confronted with a serious problem, and although she had not thought of despairing, she realized that the skizzers and their island, as well as Dorothy and herself, were in grave trouble, and that unless she could find the means to save them, they would be lost to the land of Oz for a future time. In such a dilemma, said she, musingly, nothing is gained by haste. Careful thought might aid us, and so may the course of events. The unexpected is always likely to happen, and cheerful patience is better than reckless action. All right, returned Dorothy. Take your time, Ozma. There's no hurry. How about some breakfast, Lady Aurex? Their hostess led them back to the house, where she ordered their trembling servants to prepare and serve breakfast. All the Skeezers were frightened and anxious over the transformation of their queen into a swan. Kuyo was feared and hated, but they had depended on her magic to conquer the Flatheads, and she was the only one who could raise their island to the surface of the lake again. Before breakfast was over, several of the leading Skeezers came to Aurex to ask her advice and to question Princess Ozma, of whom they knew nothing except that she claimed to be a fairy and the ruler of all the land, including the Lake of the Skeezers. If what you told Queen Kuyo was the truth, they say to her, you are our lawful mistress, and we may depend on you to get us out of our difficulties. I will try to do that, Ozma graciously assured them, but you must remember that the powers of fairies are granted them to bring comfort and happiness to all who appeal to them. On the contrary, such magic as Kuyo, new and practiced, is unlawful witchcraft, and her arts are such as no fairy will condescend to use. However, it is sometimes necessary to consider evil in order to accomplish good, and perhaps by studying Kuyo's tools and charms of witchcraft, I may be able to save us. Do you promise to accept me as your ruler and to obey my commands? They promised willingly. Then, continued Ozma, I will go to Kuyo's palace and take possession of it. Perhaps what I find there will be of use to me. In the meantime, tell all the Skeezers to fear nothing, but have patience. Let them return to their homes and perform their daily tasks as usual. Kuyo's loss may not prove a misfortune, but rather a blessing. This speech cheered the Skeezers amazingly. Really, they had no one now to depend upon but Ozma, and in spite of their dangerous position, their hearts were lightened by the transformation and absence of their cruel queen. They got out their brass band, and a grand procession escorted Ozma and Dorothy to the palace, where all of Kuyo's former servants were eager to wait upon them. Ozma invited Lady Aurex to stay at the palace also, for she knew all about the Skeezers and their island and had also been a favorite of the former queen, so her advice and information were sure to prove valuable. Ozma was somewhat disappointed in what she found in the palace. One room of Kuyo's private suite was entirely devoted to the practice of witchcraft, and here were countless queer instruments. This is the last page that I read. And jars of ointments and bottles of potions labeled with queer names, and strange machines that Ozma could not guess the use of, and pickled toads and snails and lizards, and a shelf of books that were written in blood, but in a language which the ruler of Oz did not know. I do not see, said Ozma to Dorothy. An insight came upon me, who accompanied her in her search. How Kuyo knew the use of magic tools she stole from the 3 adepts witches. Moreover, from all reports, these adepts practiced only good witchcraft, such as would be helpful to their people, while Kuyo performed only evil. Perhaps she turned the good things to evil uses, suggested Dorothy. Yes, and with the knowledge she gained, Kuyo doubtless invented many evil things quite unknown to the good adepts, who are now fishes, added Ozma. It is unfortunate for us that the queen kept her secrets so closely guarded, for no one but herself could use any of the strange things gathered in this room. Couldn't we capture the Diamond Swan and make her tell the secrets? Asked Dorothy. No, even if we were able to capture her, Kuyo now has forgotten all the magic she ever knew, but until we ourselves escape from this dome, we could not capture the swan, and were we to escape, we would have no use for Kuyo's magic. That's a fact, admitted Dorothy, but, say Ozma, it's a good idea. Couldn't we capture the 3 fishes, the gold and silver and bronze ones, and couldn't you transform them back to their own shapes, and then couldn't the three adepts get us out of here? You're not very practical, Dorothy, dear. It will be as hard for us to capture the three fishes from among all the other fishes in the lake as to capture the swan. But if we could, it will be more help to us, persisted the little girl. That is true, answered Dot, smiling at her friend's eagerness. You find a way to catch the fish, and I promise, when they are caught, to restore them to their proper forms. I know you think I can do it, replied Dorothy, but I'm going to try. She left the palace and went to a place where she could look through a clear pane of glass dome into the surrounding water, and immediately she became interested in the queer sights that met her view. The Lake of the Skeezers was inhabited by fishes of many kinds and many sizes. The water was so transparent that the girl could see for a long distance, and the fishes, even in nearly transparent, came so close to the glass of the dome that sometimes they actually touched it. On the white sands at the bottom of the lake were starfish, lobsters, crabs, and many shellfish of strange shapes, and with shells of gorgeous hues. The water foliage was of brilliant colors, and to Dorothy resembled a splendid garden. And we will keep on the next time. Now you can just enjoy the sea waves while I read my other books, but on myself. Enjoy!
aspetta che eravamo venuti che... Non mi ricordo, perché ti avevo lasciato qua? Io ti aspettavo qua?
Anche la vacca, perché avevo la... la... Oh, non avevo visto questa ragazza.